So to get by ID, we kind of need a few things. We need to get and convert the customer. That's kind of what we're doing here. So let's just do that right away. I'll say locally I have a variable called cost, and I'm just going to grab the code from down here. Yoinksy. Oh, there was an extra semicolon there. Let's just get that out of the way. And then in the end, I'm going to return the cost. So that's kind of point 1 and 4. That's already ready to do, right? That's already done. Then the next thing we need to do is kind of figure out how we can now grab the remaining information from the address repository to get all the actual addresses instead of just getting the IDs. And we can do that by saying if the customer, right, if the customer, the cost, actually has some address IDs, else it's not any fun. So if that's not null, right, so we're just doing a null check right here. If that is the case, then what we want to do is we want to go in here and we want to get all addresses and convert them. Let's see if we can do that in a short one-liner right here, because that's kind of what I like doing. So I want to say the customer's addresses. That's kind of what we're trying to get from this, right? The business object. Notice this is business objects. Now I'm going to say, using the customer addresses IDs like this, I would like to select. So I want to grab for each ID, I want to go to the backend and grab information about the actual customer. So I want to make a select here. Let's just make it into a new line. So for each of the IDs available, I'll just call it ID here and say, not IS, ID here, and say what do I want to do with each of the IDs. I want to use the unit of work. On the unit of work, I want to use the address repository. On that guy, I want to get by the ID. There we go. So now we've actually selected all of these guys. Now the last thing I always need to do when I work with queries like this is do a toList to kind of convert them, right? So now I want to convert them in the end. I want to execute the select query and convert it into a list of whatever is in here. There's one problem though. Whatever is in here right now is address entities. But what we need is addressed business objects. So we need to do one more thing. We need to convert each of these guys into a address business object. So we're going to need the address converter. So I'm going to the top of the class right here, and I'm going to make a new address converter here. Again, oh man, if we had dependency injection yet, we could really do some cool things here, but you'll just have to live with actually adding the converters manually right now. So I'll just add the address converter up here, and I'll go and use it to actually convert each of these guys. So notice, all I have to do is I have to say inside this one, for each one I have available, I want to go in and I want to convert it. There we go. So now each of them are converted. And in the end, again, I just want to convert everything into a list. And there we go. Now this is this one-liner, and we can actually make it even simpler. Because what I want to do is, I showed you guys, you can actually do this. There we go. And now I don't even need this. There we go. Because we put in the question mark, saying you should only do this if this is not null. So there we go. Now we actually convert all our address IDs by using the address repository. We get each of them, and we actually end up having a list that we send into a customer address. Let's see if it works. I missed a semicolon there, put it in there. Okay, so before we continue this, I just want to, while this starts up anyway, I just want to talk about what we just did. Right now I did a few things that's not perfect. One of them is that I'm using the address repository to get each ID, and that actually means I'm reading the database again and again and again and again for each of the IDs. Now this is not a problem, we cannot have that many addresses, but if this was a huge system, it might be a problem. There might be too many calls to the database. So next lesson I'm going to add a new function in the address repository that can get all by ID. So I can get kind of a list from IDs. Just another solution that you can use. It's up to you if you want to use it. So we're almost there. Let's try and have a look at the result now. If I do a request now to get a single customer right here, you'll notice that now instead I'm actually getting back the IDs, but also the actual addresses down here. So I'm getting back the actual information now. Yay! That's sweet. I still get the address ID, so we could get that out of the way if we want to. That's really up to you. It might be just noise, and we can just remove it before we send the request back. Sweet! So we're done. Now we can actually get the real information. Now let's try and optimize this a little bit. See you next time.